Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we talk about investing in the starter Pokemon cards ahead of the 25th anniversary, and today's video was actually basically inspired by a comment that was left on one of the videos. So big shout out to Dr. MTG Magic the Gathering, I assume, where they ask, what are your thoughts on investing on the OG starters with the anniversary coming up? Now, this particular comment got me thinking about another more or less argument I had with someone in the comments of a random Facebook post, and I figured I would share with you the insights that I gleaned from that other conversation over here in response to Dr. MTG's comment. Now, before we get started, I did want to, of course, say a big shout out to Dr. MTG, and of course I did check out their channel as well on screen right now for you to see, so definitely feel free to check them out. As you can see, they have a little bit of everything with some Magic the Gathering stuff, and of course there is also some Pokemon as well. So Dr. MTG, thank you for checking out a video, thank you for engaging down below in the comments, and yeah, I definitely encourage everyone checking out this video to also go shoot over here, show some support to the community. It's definitely always welcomed and appreciated. And without further ado, in response to your question, Doc, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what I believe to be the best way to invest in starter Pokemon with the 25th anniversary up in mind. Now, of course, much like any investment strategy, we do have to lay out some pretty simple guidelines. So the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and say is that we are treating this 100% as an exercise of investment. That means you're not looking for the coolest card, you're not looking for the nicest value, you're looking for the card that is the best investment. That means you get to invest money, and at the end of it, you will make the most money from the investment. The second thing that we're going to go ahead and assume is that you want to use about anywhere from 1 week to 1 month's salary. I went online, did a simple little bit of research, found out that about $2,000 is around that for the average American. So as a result, we're going to keep all of our investments under $2,000. So in theory, we're saying you should have been investing, you know, a pretty significant amount of income with the intent of making some money on the back end of that transaction. And finally, but not least, of course, we are going to be doing these starter Pokemon. So in this particular case, in today's video, we're going to walk through all of the Charizard cards. So we're going to do Charizard First Edition Base, Shadowless, and Unlimited. And we're going to see which of the three, theoretically, helped make or contribute the most meaningful investment over the course of the past year. Now, why are we looking at past year data? Two things. One, I can't tell you how the 25th anniversary is going to impact the market. A lot of people are saying that it should be very good and that prices should be sky high. But as many viewers of this channel already know, there has been tons of insane stuff going on in the market right now. In fact, we saw a boom specifically with Charizard cards at the end of October anyway. So it's kind of weird because in 2020, we've had a series of different spikes caused by a series of different things. And now on top of that, on the back end, we're assuming there's going to be another spike in early February. So with that said, let's take a look at a Charizard First Edition holographic. You know, it's the grail. Now, bearing in mind our $2,000 limit, you could have bought on 11/23/2019 a First Edition PSA 5 for the whopping price of $1,501. That was an auction sale on eBay from a seller named Miaveg3 ? Now, peep this. We're going to go ahead and take that date, which was approximately 1 year ago, and then we're going to see how well your investment would have done over the next calendar year. So, let's play it out. You purchased this card for $1,501 in end of October 2019. This year, on October 28th, 2020, there was a PWCC auction that ended with this first edition PSA 5 card selling for $10,800. That is a 619.52% increase from your original investment, and on top of that, it netted you $9,299 to put in your pocket. Now, bear in mind, because these are going to be some pretty interesting numbers later on. Now, assuming you were to sell approximately a full calendar year later, at the end of the year, on 12/25/2020, which is, what, 3-4 days ago, one of these exact same PSA 5 first edition cards sold for $5,300. If you were looking at your original investment of $1,501, that means you saw a percentage increase of 253.098%, or approximately $3,799. And this sale was by MDM552 over on eBay. So, all things considered, a pretty great year for Charizard First Edition. Again, bear in mind, not many people are going to have the ability or the capacity to purchase these very high value cards, so PSA 9s and 10s may have been out of the question. Last year around this time, just for reference, PSA 9s were actually above $10,000 or trending right around there. And so it's incredibly hard and difficult to justify purchasing one of those not knowing how the future market was going to be. As you can see here, we invested about $1,500 and we made about anywhere from 2.5 to 6 times the amount of money, which is very impressive. Now, earlier in the intro to this video, I had mentioned about a Facebook post that I ended up getting involved in and disagreeing with some people on. The argument was whether or not we should be investing in Charizards and how we shouldn't be investing in Charizards. And one person in the comment section insisted that no matter the condition, no matter the grade on the card, PSA graded first edition Charizards were the way to go. Now, while I agree that nostalgia and collectability and a variety of other very subjective elements play into that conversation, what I cannot agree with is the fact that it was the ultimate performer, because it was not. We can isolate and take a look at other cards that outperformed first edition Charizards, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you think about investing in the OG starters, it really depends on what your intentions are. If you're behaving as a collector or you're behaving for the long term, realistically you can buy anything and it'll probably go up in value. But if you're investing for the short term, meaning as in the original comment, hey, with the 25th anniversary upcoming, how do you feel about investing in these starters? It's very critical to understand which cards still have a lot of headroom to grow. And bear in mind, PSA 10 Charizard first edition cards shot up this year, right? We could have bought them for about $50,000 sometime last year. They are now easily over $250,000, so that's about, 5 times the original amount, and that's fairly impressive. Again, no one is going to have the amount of money needed to buy that card that is likely watching this video, or many other videos on YouTube. Very few individuals will have the capacity and the resources necessary to pull that off. And that's why it's important that, hey, maybe we scale it down. We look at PSA 5s. But as you can see, PSA 5s, while pretty impressive in the way that they have gone up over this year, you'll soon find out that there are other cards that very clearly outperformed it. So from an investment perspective, there are better cards that have more room to grow, and these are the cards that you need to find out about, isolate, and invest in. So as an example of that, again, bearing in mind our rules for this particular exercise, we wanted to make sure that we were spending less than $2,000. So on 12/23/2019, I found a $1,336 auction from PWCC for a PSA 9 Shadowless base Charizard. So this is the Shadowless version of the card, but it is, however, unlimited, meaning it does not have the first edition stamp. This is considered to be the second Holy Grail. Now, this card sold for, as I said, $1,336. But if you look a little bit later on, in October 26th of 2020, so approximately, give or take like 11 months, that same exact card, the base Shadowless PSA 9 Charizard, sold for $20,000 $987. And this was an auction by the Lord Godbird on eBay. So what does that mean? Overall, we had a percentage increase of 1,470.88%, or in other terms, a dollar value increase of $19,651. So if you had made your investment and sold it at this time when the market was at its highest, you'd be making about nearly 15 times the amount of money you did when you purchased. And the funny thing is that if we compare it to the first edition base Charizard, you actually spent $160-ish less to make your initial investment, and yet you've made a whopping amount of money more, nearly $10,000 more. Now, to further point out, on Christmas Day of this year, so 12/25/2020, we had another Shadowless PSA 9 Charizard sell for $6,510. This was an eBay auction by Marhaus, Marhaus. If we're looking at the original investment, that means someone made about $5,174, or alternatively, they saw a increase on their original price of about 387.275% increase from their original price. So that means to say it went up almost 4 times the original price they paid. Now, if we're looking at this in comparison to the PSA 5 base Charizard, that is a first edition card, in both instances, we very clearly outperform the first edition card. And there's a couple reasons for this. Again, it all goes back to that idea that I posed a little bit earlier about which cards have more headroom. Don't forget, first edition cards are always going to carry a significant premium, and therefore they're always going to be more expensive. That's why it's actually costing more to get a PSA 5 version of a first edition card, but if you buy it Shadowless, you can get a PSA 9 for actually less money. So it's actually really good. And then what you're actually shocked to find out now is that the card was actually outperformed. So the Shadowless card did better in both scenarios. If you were to have sold in October, you would have ended up making about $19,000 with the Shadowless card. With the first edition, only $9,000. And then if you had sold in December, when things were a little bit slower, you would have only made $3,799 with the first edition card, but with the Shadowless card, you ended up making $5,174. So both from a dollar figure as well as a percentage of return, you have succeeded in all capacities. Now, if you think that's impressive, wait till you get a load of this. So out of curiosity, I took a look at 2 different scenarios for the base Unlimited Charizard. This is the one that has a shadow and has no first edition stamp. And that's totally fine, that's totally cool. But let's go ahead and take a peek and see what happens when we simulated out a PSA 10. So on 12/23 of 2019, one of these PSA 10 Gem Mint cards sold for the whopping price of $1,824. In October 28th of 2020, a same exact version of that card sold for $30,800. Now, just to stop and consider, that is a 1,588.6% increase. Nearly 16 times the original investment was made back. As a dollar amount, that is $28,976. And again, you've only spent $300 more in initial investment, and you've made back nearly 16 times that amount. Now, let's pretend for a moment that you also sold a little bit lower, so you sold about in December. On December 13th of 2020, we had one of these cards sell for $12,955. Considering your original investment about a year ago, that is about 610.252% increase on the original price, as well as being about $11,131 over the original price. Again, comparing this to both the Shadowless and the first edition, you'll see that in both scenarios, again, it's been more than easily outcompeted. In both scenarios, you're making a higher dollar value as well as a higher percentage increase, both of which are excellent indicators that, ironically, for 2020, the best way to invest in a starter Pokemon was not buying a first edition card because, you know, it's first edition, but was actually purchasing the cards that were the cheapest, that were perhaps even undervalued, and that had the most headroom to grow. Now, just for funsies, I also ran a check on the PSA 9 Base Unlimited Charizard. Again, same, you know, shadow border as well as no first edition stamp, and I ran this out just to kind of see what would happen. Just for funsies, what I found out is that on 12/30/2019, one sold for $242.50. If you had sold that same card on October 28th of 2020, you would have found out that it sold for $4,522. Here's the funny part. That is 1,768% percentage increase. And what that means is that it outperforms every other category here. So it outperforms the first edition PSA 5. It outperforms the Shadowless PSA 9. It outperforms the Gem Mint Base Unlimited PSA 10. And part of the reason that I believe this is the case is because this card was universally more affordable in all scenarios. Because it was so low in price, it probably had the most headroom to grow, and so it was able to grow the most. Now, I did a quick check. Let's just pretend you had bought PSA 9s instead of PSA 10s, but you wanted to spend the same $1,824. Well, you could have bought about 7 PSA 9s for the cost of one PSA 10 at approximately the same time within the same week in December of 2019. Ironically, you would have made about $31,654, which completely blows the PSA 10's margin out of the water. Easy, no problem. Now, again, just to kind of step along this process, I also ran one for December 24th, 2020. I found that exact same PSA 9 Base Unlimited Charizard sold for $1,550, meaning it was about a 540% increase, or about $1,300-ish in value. Again, these dollar figures aren't as impressive because the card is so much cheaper, but it goes to show you that some of the most potent investment strategies, especially when it comes to the starter Pokemon, doesn't always have to be about first edition cards. And I hope that's what this video showed and sort of portrayed, using real life mathematical examples of real life sales that happened, that were confirmed and that were paid. We were able to very clearly prove, and I think any reasonable person would agree with this, that a solid strategy regarding first edition or starter Pokemon in general is going to have to take into consideration which cards have the most headroom, which cards are perhaps overbought, meaning, you know, there's just too much buying going on, and which cards are susceptible to price falls. Because as we saw in all these examples, it's very easy to get wrapped up in when the hype is going to die down, and that can also be a very costly endeavor. Now that, of course, is its own video. But, friends, with all that said, thanks again for checking out this video. It is already 12/29/2020. Don't know where this year went, but that's a thing. I did want to say a big shout out to everyone on the channel and all the new subscribers we've been getting. I really do appreciate it. Of course, if you have questions or comments or concerns regarding this video's topic, feel free to leave those comments down below. As always, I do appreciate your viewership. I always say that it's amazing to have you guys here, and I appreciate it because you could be watching any other PokeTuber, you could be watching any other video on the internet, but you chose to spend a little bit of time with me, and I really do appreciate that. With this week being New Year's, I'm planning to keep it super simple. You're going to have this video today. I am going to do a 2020 goals video wrap-up for New Year's Eve, so nothing crazy. We'll do some more PSA greater returns on Saturday, and then next week we'll get back into it and we'll celebrate the new year in style. But other than that, of course, if you do want to and you have enjoyed the content today, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It is free, I promise. And it's always fun to watch the Gengar Gang grow. It's been a really successful year. The channel has, I think, easily doubled in size, which is amazing to think. And it seems like we're picking up more steam every single day. So I'm really happy that you all are here joining the community and interacting. Thank you again to Dr. MTG for leaving that comment, which helped inspire this video, and I guess that random person on Facebook who wanted to try me and got played with the numbers when I hit him with the facts. And with that said, friends, have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.